Hello everyone, this is Mark Huxley, the Director of Home Video, also known as James from Home Video. We're here today with a special guest, Australian film star, John McPherson. John, how you doing?
Yeah, good. How you going? It's good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Look, we're just going to ask you a few questions today. Going to get into talking about a few of the Australian films that, Australian film productions that you've been in. We'll get to that a little bit later, but just first off, just wanted to sort of set the scene, just ask you a little bit about, Grant and, in Home Video, how you kind of came up with his character.
Yeah, well, after first reading the scripts, I saw Grant as more or less a bit of a quirky character, and so I've done a lot of comedy and a lot of improvisation shows throughout my time, and I just wanted to come up with a character that would really stand out and just make him a real distinguishable character, the sort of character that you, more or less, if you really stopped and looked around, that you could probably see in an op shop or in other places like that. He's a bit of a loner, and I've enjoyed, just bringing him to life and more or less just having a lot of fun with it as I've gone along.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the only direction I really gave you was, I think I remember it was like, he's got a few screws loose.
Yeah, yeah. There was plenty of things that came to mind when you said that.
You'll see all the bloopers on the Home Video channel. That's where I'm laughing when we're trying to act because we didn't do any rehearsals. We just rocked up and we just recorded straight away, and I couldn't really keep it together. Grant.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
So this is Grant. Grant runs this op shop, and actually we go back a long way. Grant used to...
Hello.
So this is Grant. He runs this op shop, and those scenes. If you haven't seen the Home Video show, just go to the playlist, and we're just going to show you now an episode number 2 of John McPherson as Grant.
Running the store is a bit of a challenge. So this is the bin that we take out every night when the store closes. This is the bin that people actually put donations that we can sell later on in the store. People leave all sorts of stuff, and a lot of the stuff is actually quite good. But sometimes people also leave things in the bin that I find are unacceptable and we can't actually sell in the shop.
that was an interesting scene because especially when you put the paste on the knickers, it was just can imagine you could actually find that sort of stuff on there.
You've been an Australian film actor for a while now, and you've done quite a few film productions. What are some of the notable actors that you've worked with?
The very first well-known actor that I've had the privilege of working with was a guy, John Howard from Mad Max Fury Road. Was one of his big notable roles that he's had.
We are down 30,000 units of gasoline, 19 canisters of nitro, 12 assault bikes, 7 pursuit vehicles, the deficit mounts, and now, sir, you have us stuck in a quagmire.
The chances of us finding the skyline of the stunt look pretty slim.
Only problem is, the other victim was supposed to be dead already.
Don't ever ask any questions.
I also have had the privilege of working with Jonathan LaPaglia. Jonathan was in a movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. called The Hit List. He was also in Ford versus Ferrari. And in the same movie, I was also working with Luke Hemsworth, obviously the older brother of Chris Hemsworth, as we all know as Thor, and many other wonderful movies.
I will tell Father what you did here today. I didn't do it for him. I didn't do it for him.
And working with Luke was amazing. He was so helpful on screen, and yeah, it just really made you feel relaxed, because whenever you're working with someone as big as he is, like, nerves always start to build up. Yeah, so he was just awesome to work with. Jacqueline McKenzie, she was from Romper Stomper and Deep Blue Sea.
Get me out of here, Connor! I don't want to die!
Grab my hand! Come on! Grab on!
I can't! Help! I can't! Help! I can't!
There was quite a few emotional scenes that she did, and she was just incredible to watch. Like I said, I loved working with her, and just the latest one that I had the pleasure of working with, and is Luke Ford, who of course played Brendan Fraser's son in The Mummy 3.
I'm not here 5 minutes and I'm already pulling your fanny out of the fire. You're going back to college.
How do you think this is gonna work, Dad? You two show up, tell me what to do?
No, but we should sit down and discuss this like a family.
No offense, Mom, but we haven't been a family in a long time.
Hey, don't you turn your back on me, Alex.
With him, I actually did a one-on-one scene with him, which was amazing, and actually still friends with him even today. Like, still contact him today, and he's just given me some amazing advice and where to go forward and how to keep improving as time goes on. So I think working with anybody, any actor is amazing, but if you can add a credit to your name to work with some of these actresses that's just inspiring as what they are, it really helps you develop your craft, because it really tries to bring you up to their level, and so
Yeah, definitely.
hopefully I can keep doing that sometime in the near future.
Yeah, nice. So that movie, so Jacqueline McKenzie, she was in. You started with her in, was it the Gateway? Alpha Gateway?
Yes, the Gateway. So for it's the Australian version of it's called the Gateway. In the US, it's called Alpha Gateway.
Go now!
I'll wait for you.
No, I'm staying here.
What? Here?
Just go!
Three of the movies where I've been working with big actors like that with John B. SOTO. He's a wonderful friend of mine as well as an incredibly talented director.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be doing a rise. Being able to draw in some of these notable, celebrities and that. So that's really good.
Oh, absolutely. It's and his movies are fantastic. It's the best part about his movies is he makes his movies for the international market. Like, a lot of Australian movies just look at making them for the Australian market, whereas he, jumps from sci-fi to crime thriller to supernatural horror. He hasn't got a particular genre that he just sticks with and goes with that. He, delves into different genres to what the market is looking for, and really tries to sell it for the international market.
Yeah, good. Like, diversifies. Nothing, nothing worse than being put in a box.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, look, you've starred in quite some professional productions. Is there any of them, out of the ones you're talking about, any of them you're particularly proud of, or?
I'm proud of them all. Like I said, I'm very lucky to have been a part of so many. It's a couple of notable ones that I love. Was the very first one that I did with Neil from Home Video, was Raven's Cabin.
Yeah.
It was the very first one that we did together. And yeah, it was put together in just the space of 2 weeks, and it was such a full-on production. We were running around, but it just came together beautifully, and we had a lot of success. We actually had a theatrical release in South America with it for a low-budgeted film. It was incredible, and of course the film I did with you, Wrong Night Stand, your directing debut for a feature film, is always been something that I love working with you, and something I'm very proud of. And the success it's had, particularly on the international market, has been incredible.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I'll put a disclaimer out there for that one because we did shoot it on, just to the audience, we did shoot it on $10,000. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's and so I mean, I'm proud of all of them, but they're the two notable ones. I mean, it's working with yourself is, like you said, I love working with you and work with you on any project. But and working with Neil as well. Like I said, I've worked with Neil both in films and in a lot of theatre shows, and Neil is just one of the most talented actors I've had the privilege of working with, and he's just an amazing guy, and I love working with him. So it's so hopefully again we'll be able to collaborate something and put it together soon.
I'm really in a lot of pain. I just need you to come get me right now, all right? I'm in a phone booth.
when you get a role, what's one of the first things you do to prepare? Is there any kind of do you have something that you always do, or is it different for each role?
Yeah, it's more or less different for each role. For me, I mean, I love playing bad guy characters. I mean, the two things I love playing is I love playing comedy roles because it's, and I love playing bad guy characters. All the villains in movies, people they stand out. Villains always stand out, and so do comedies. So for
usually
me,
the best roles.
Yeah, absolutely. So particularly if I'm doing a bad guy character role, and I'm coming up to an intense scene like I did on Wrong Night Stand with the torture scene, I would generally go away and listen to a playlist that I have on my phone, and just get myself emotionally attached to what I'm about to do. Like if I'm playing a sad emotional role, I have a playlist that I listen to get me in the mood. So more or less, I got trained in a technique called sense memory technique, where you go away and you somehow find yourself emotionally attached to what you're about to do.
It's time for some fun.
There was that whole thing with Sia and that film music.
Yes.
The flack that the lead actress got from that, and I heard she just studied or just watched YouTube videos to prepare for a role, and yeah, I mean sometimes that just doesn't cut it. That's why I didn't want to put Grant in a box. I wanted him to just be. Something's wrong with him, but yeah, there could be many things wrong with him.
Quite a few things wrong.
Yeah, I didn't want to be put into that kind of box. Interesting story. This was a few years back, but I went to an op shop, and you see these kind of characters at op shops. But I went up to buy something at the counter, and the guy behind the counter, I asked him, how much is this, and he was just like, $2, like that. And I was like, okay, well, how much is this thing here? And he's like, $4, like this, and I was like, man, this guy's rude. So I asked, like, can you get me a manager, please? And so I spoke to the manager and I said, look, this guy's like really rude. You know what I mean? Like his attitude's really rude. And she says, oh, look, I'm sorry, he's a bit, autistic. You just have to, this is, and I felt really bad because I was just like, I was this guy, but I didn't realize that he had a problem, and to him, he didn't realize that he was being rude.
Yeah, of course.
But I just I had to go back and just be like, oh, hey, mate, I'll just have these things.
Yeah.
But I felt really bad about that. So, what would be some of your favourite films?
Oh, it's well. I'm a big horror buff, so it's, I love all the Nightmare on Elm Streets. Like Freddy Krueger is just the pinnacle of bad guy characters, because he obviously with all the killing, but he has fun doing it. Some movies like Jaws, the original Jaws movie is one of my epic. I've seen it 6 million times, and it never gets old for me. Like it's just. it stands the test of time because it's such brilliant directing by Steven Spielberg. So it's so yeah, I don't have a particular movie that really stands. Like I said, anything with good characters take you on a journey, and that's what I love. I mean, all the superhero movies, that are out there are fantastic. They really are, but sometimes they're just so CGI'd up to the eyeball that you can't really get into it. So, I mean,
yeah, and I mean the CGI back in the day with like say Jurassic Park, because it was so minimal, they had time to spend on creating the special effects and getting it right. Whereas nowadays, the VFX artists, the whole film CGI, and they just slap it out. And
they do.
And it just starts to look cheap,
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why a lot of the CGI nowadays, you're watching, you're like, you can't really connect because it just looks cheap,
Yeah, it does. It really depends on the director. I mean, if you were to make Jaws again, this time with CGI, then I don't know whether it would be as good as what it was back in the 1970s. I mean, what made Jaws so good back then is there was no CGI back then. Does a shark look fake at the end? Of course it does. But for most of the movie, you don't see the shark.
Yeah.
You only see the shark at right at the very end. Most of the thing that made Jaws so scary is that you didn't know what was underneath you in the water, and that's what made Jaws so brilliantly directed.
And I think that's the same as with most horror movies. When you don't know what it is, that's the threat. That's where your brain starts wandering because you don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
You haven't seen.
Well,
it.
I think one of the cleverest movies I've ever seen was the Blair Witch Project, and I absolutely love that. It's one of my favorite movies, is because it's so cleverly done. There's nothing really scary about the movie, but most people, including myself, when you're in nighttime and you wake up and you hear a noise, all of a sudden your mind starts wondering, like going, "Oh my gosh, what's that noise out there?" And that's basically all Blair Witch is that they were sleeping in the middle of the woods. They're hearing noises like rocks, and all of a sudden and your mind starts going, "What is going on?" And that's what's scary about it. It was so cleverly done.
Yeah, and the fact that you never actually saw the Blair Witch, I think your imagination just runs wild, after seeing it. You're just like, well, what was it? What did it look like,
And I think that was the first real movie that really took advantage of, this new social media that we have, like to
the internet.
Promote the movie like they did. There's this documentary of these kids. Oh my gosh, we found the video. Look what we found. What were you going to find on it? And it was so cleverly done. It was.
I remember back in the day with the dial-up internet and coming across that website and thinking, "What is this? Is this real? Is it?" Back then, you just, you didn't know because it was like the internet was so new, and they capitalized on that. Yeah. So, do you have any favorite film actors or actresses?
For me, Jake Gyllenhaal is my favorite actor, along with Tom Hardy. Like, we talk about actors that make roles their own. Like, if you look at Jake Gyllenhaal in all these movies, he adds just something quirky to the character. Like, in the movie Prisoners, he was a detective, and he gave his character just this blink, and it was annoying, but it was just perfect because it suited the character. He had this nervous twitch that he just gave it his all, and Tom Hardy, like I said, he's just every role he does, he just stands out. Like I love him in the movie Lawless.
That's a good movie.
And he's a brilliant movie. And another one called Legends, where he actually played two twin brothers, and each brother had this, different quirk about them, even though they are twins. One of them that you was absolutely petrified of, and the other one was a bit of a nicer character, but he pulled it off just so brilliantly. And probably my favorite female actress, probably be Margot Robbie. Like she's just got an apt ability to just look incredible on screen. I mean, she's beautiful, but she's more than that. Like she just got this amazing ability to sell herself to the camera and just pull you in and just follow her on this amazing journey. You know, I like the Tom Cruises of actors. You know, one of my going back a long time before I was born, James Dean. He was an actor that I love. I mean, made 3 movies and today is still iconic, and that was back in the 1950s, and today still stands up. People today still know who James Dean is. And for comedy roles, Robin Williams, just like I said, he's just the best I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't think you'll ever see someone like him ever again, and which is really sad. But even going back further than that, Charlie Chaplin is something that Charlie Chaplin, you don't say anything, you don't, that's just by your actions and what makes people laugh. And Charlie Chaplin was brilliant at that.
Yeah. So a bit of a James question now. So do you prefer physical media or digital media, digital films?
Probably digital films. I'm just, I mean, I'm just trying to keep up with the times. So it's digital media is just the way where things are heading. So I mean, it's just where everything's going, and it makes the film process better. That's really anybody can do it. Like you know, I mean, look at Wrong I Stand. You made it for a low budget film for $10,000. It's sold literally all over the world. People have watched it all over the world, and anyone with the camera can do it. So I think it gives lower budgeted filmmakers who are trying to showcase their stuff to be able to get away and make it and not have to break the budget in doing it. Like it's no longer for filmmakers that make it for 100, 200, 300, 400 million dollars. Anybody can do it. So I definitely lean towards digital.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I won't tell James that you said that, but no, you're quite right. Yeah, however, I'm still, like I said, I'm still a fan of physical media and things, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with digital media. James has come to accept that as well. So, are there any film productions you're working on at the moment?
There is. I can't say much about it at the moment because, but again, it's going to be with John B. SOTO.
Yeah.
But I can't say much about it because it's in early stages at the moment. But it will be hopefully getting shot later this year. And also there's another one after that which he's asked me to come on board with. So which will be hopefully early next year. So yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff, and also working with you and your new and upcoming project that you're telling me about. So and another good friend of mine is also asked me to come on board his new project. So but the biggest one at the moment is again working with John SOTO with his new and upcoming feature film. So.
Yeah, nice. Well, John, look, it's been a pleasure chatting today.
You too.
I'm sure Grant will rear his head in season 3 of that.
Absolutely. It's just when you thought it was safe to go back to an op shop, Grant comes on board again.
Just when I thought it was safe to go back to an op shop. Yeah, look, guys, if you haven't seen any of those films, check them out. What is it, The Reckoning?
The Reckoning, The Gateway. The newest one is Avarice, the one I just did with Luke Ford from The Mummy 3, Avarice, but also check out yours, Wrong Right Stand, Raven's Cabin, Twisted Minds. One of my favorite ones, Zombie Ninjas versus Black Ops, which was an interesting one, and one called Dead Time.
Yeah, true. Yeah, guys, check them out. Yeah, so yeah, John, like I said, it's been a pleasure, and I'll leave you to it now. And I'll
Terrific. Thank you for the time. It's been great.
No worries. I'll speak to you soon.
Sounds good.
All right.
See ya.
See you, mate.